Welcome. In this video, we will highlight the basics of Veritas Alta View reports, including inventory list, dashboards, and report customization. All right, from Alta View, we can come in, go to our main menu. There's a cross-launch option here into Alta View reports. So the features that we're showing would work with any release of IT Analytics, Alta Analytics. So first place I usually suggest folks to begin to learn about the tool would be within our inventory tab. As soon as information is collected, we will see that information show up in the category organized around the left-hand pane. And this main screen has a modal window in the upper right that will flip between an overview and an inventory list. So I think of the inventory list as almost like a pseudo spreadsheet, and the inventory reports, particularly for new users, we suggest that they begin with. For any object as it's collected, we will get an overview for that. So in the case of this environment, where we have 9 backup servers that are known or have been known, we will see an overview for those. And you'll also note that there are additional tabs that I've added in here, and those have been added by going to the plus sign. And based on the object type that's selected here in the left-hand pane, IT Analytics will suggest other report templates that we could run. As an example, if we wanted to look at the Net Backup Audit Report, even when a tab is rendering for us, I still have access to click on other areas. So if I can let that work continue, we can start to get a sense of how through the inventory we can begin to show powerful features and functions. Backup primary server, the overview, will consist of these 3 major panes. It will give us a backup status, a job type count, and then a tabular backup executive summary. Worth noting that not only are there overt hyperlinks within IT Analytics, so for example, in here on November 29th, we logged a failure. If I wanted to go and look at that job directly, I can simply click on the hyperlink for it. I don't need to go back to the Net Backup console. I don't need to know anything more than I want to go and look at the information about that failed job. We see a job summary. I'm going to spend a minute or two here just talking about the depth of information that is available for Net Backup collection when you get into the job summary. And so we see all the standard kind of information that particularly an Ops Center customer would probably be looking for. Job ID, client, the backup ID within Net Backup, policy name, and all the way through to an exit code, which of course in this case was 9999. Click the finish date hyperlink. We're presented with job details. And I can see that additional details about why this was a failed job. Back within inventory, the other thing to be aware of is that most of our graphics are hyperlinked as well. If I want to rescale, for example, and look at celebrate all my successes, but focus in on warnings or failures, at this moment, there are no warnings in this short date window of time. If I wanted to go look at my successes for a given point in time, I can simply, just as we did previously with the hyperlink for the tabular form, I can also hyperlink in to the bar chart, see the same information. For Net Backup in particular, you may, as you go through details, you might find that you're interested in looking at suppressing certain job types or potentially seeing job types that you were not finding in the out-of-the-box summary. To do that, particularly with job summary, or the scope selector for job summary, we can go in and choose advanced, and now we can see the job types that are automatically selected. For example, if I wanted to not see instant recovery jobs, or I wanted to see indexing or vaults, vault operations, archive, etc., you can see how I could turn those features on and off with the radio buttons. Go back to inventory, and we added in some additional tabs, including the audit report. One thing to be aware of with the inventory tab in particular is it's all based on a snapshot. So when I first log in, a snapshot is created for me, and if things change within the data set since that snapshot was created, I look for indicators in 2 locations. One is here, where I could simply refresh, and the other one that we'll very commonly see is also this icon, which tells us the latency of the information. I talked earlier about the fact that the left-hand pane controls what we see in the major right-hand pane, so we can actually see that quickly. If I look at the top level of all Net Backup servers, and I go to our summary, we can see we're getting a summation of 9 primaries, sum total of 300 and change jobs, and you can see the run rate for those over the last days. When I changed my focus down to an individual primary server, you don't need to do anything, but now see that the majority of those jobs for the 9 are really coming from this primary server. If I want to look at the distribution for another primary server, you can see it's just as simple as changing my focus. One other thing that we typically will talk about within inventory is the fact that as we learn about hosts, whether those be backup clients or if we're doing additional collection from other facets, if you're using different versions of IT analytics, we will see those hosts come summarized for us. And we introduce the notion of an attribute.